There are so many levers you can pull in terms of ways to optimize it, ways to target it, ways to use catalog ads as a weapon for prospecting and brand awareness.
A weapon for prospecting. I love it. What is new with DPA in 2025?
All you'll need to do in the future is just plug in a good, well-organized product catalog and the rest will be handled for you.
How do you think DPA can specifically help with creative diversity?
We've dispelled the notion that they look bad, right? There's now all these ways that you can make catalog ads look like actual ad creative running sales in your catalog ads. It's like the lowest hanging fruit and the highest payoff. We don't even do case studies about it anymore because we have too many, because like it just always works and it's so easy to do and so few brands think about doing it.
Over 60% of all e-commerce ad spend goes to this one ad creative type. And it's not video or even static ads. It is catalog ads, also known as DPA or dynamic product ads. So today I brought Dan Pantelo back to the channel. He is the expert on this ad creative type. So we are going to be diving into all things catalog ads in 2025. Oh yeah, and he's bringing a $10,000 gift to the viewers of this channel, which I think is the first time someone's ever done that in the history of e-commerce podcasts.
Probably won't be the last. I hope I'm starting a trend here.
I know. Marketing operators, take note. Dan, why don't you give yourself an introduction and explain why you love this ad creative type so much?
I'm the founder and CEO of a company called Marpipe. I think by now a bunch of you have heard about it because we've been around for 6 years now, serving a bunch of e-commerce brands, DTC brands. Just to give you like the really quick way back, I ran an agency back in the day.
I always forget you were like a agency person to begin.
Yeah, we were making Facebook ads and running Facebook ads for brands. And this was during like the Facebook gold rush, right?
Oh, okay.
When like you kind of couldn't get it wrong. And we saw catalog ads were just a small, tiny smidge of people's budgets that was only used for retargeting, right?
Guilty. I've done that before, yeah.
Exactly. But then over the years, we start to saw that the share of spend that catalog ads would get was growing more and more and more. But catalog ads was this kind of area that marketers didn't really know much about, right?
Yeah.
It's a really kind of confusing, nebulous thing. You know, the truth is we don't get into marketing to really deal with big spreadsheets of products, right? Like
here. Yeah.
Like you got into marketing because you want to be creative, right? You want to think of campaigns, you want to write copy, you want to make hooks that really draw people in, right? This is why people are in marketing. We're not here to wrangle big spreadsheets of product SKUs. And the thing is, this is how catalog ads work, right?
Yeah.
Catalog ads are pretty much what they are is instead of designing and uploading a video or a static image, what you do is you have a spreadsheet of all your products, right?
Yikes.
And you just plug it into Meta and it's one campaign that's just a spreadsheet of products and you just throw spend against it and see what happens.
Yeah.
And back in the day, there was really no levers you can pull against it, right? It was pretty much only for retargeting. And what it would do is just see who went on your site, what products they looked at, and try to serve them the images of the same ads again.
Yeah.
Now, this has exploded as a format and there are so many levers you can pull, right? In terms of ways to optimize it, ways to target it, ways to use catalog ads as a weapon for prospecting and brand awareness.
A weapon for prospecting. I love it.
A weapon for prospecting and brand awareness. And we've dispelled the notion that they look bad, right? There's now all these ways that you can make catalog ads look like actual ad creative rather than just a catalog of just like product SKUs, right? Now you can pull creative levers, targeting levers, optimization levers, and that has led to the explosion of this format. And that's why when we talked a year ago, we looked at a basket of our enterprise customers 1 year ago when we had our last conversation. And we looked at how much money those customers were spending on catalog ads.
Yeah.
Right? And last time we talked, in the trailing 30 days, that basket of customers that we had that we're tracking that are still around today, right? They were spending around 300 to 350K a day on catalog ads, okay? Which is a pretty decent amount.
Yeah.
Catalog ads are pretty big, right?
Yeah.
And then now today, right, that same basket of customers is spending around 750K a day.
So it
on
doubled
catalog
pretty
ads.
much.
It pretty much doubled. These companies have doubled the amount they're spending on catalog ads. How are they doing that? How are they scaling this format so well?
Yeah.
There's a lot of new things that have happened. There's a lot of news. There's a lot of updates. There's a lot of new strategies and tactics.
Yeah, and we're going to dive into it all.
Exactly.
Yeah. So before we dive into all of that, I want to talk a little bit about my experience with catalog ads and just like my perspective on it. Because on this channel, I talk a lot about the ad creative and performance creative and how to make creative that converts. So oftentimes when I am working with a client or brand and I'm like, hey, do you run catalog ads? And they sort of look at me with a question mark because they're like, wait, like this is kind of the antithesis of what you do on the performance creative side. So I really love being able to introduce brands to catalog ads because I think it's like the definition of an easy win. Like, and something I always have brands come and ask me is like, hey, how do I test all of my different products? How do I make sure I am making creative that is representing the products that are going to sell? And something that I always talk about with DPA is DPA kind of lets you relax and really lean into your best sellers and what you know works. Because sometimes if I'm working with a brand that has 500 SKUs, they're like, do we need to make 500 variations of an ad to then test it and see what's going to work? And I'm like, if you are actually utilizing catalog ads, that means that you're still going to be pushing that ad spend to maybe some of your lesser used or lesser known products. Like you're still going to have some of that ad spend going to those products, which is something that I really like. I also think, for that reason, clients that have a lot of SKUs can like breathe a bit of a sigh of relief with catalog ads, knowing that they are able to really get that ad spend to those products. Now, another thing that we talked about last year too is I kind of view catalog ads as a little bit of a targeting hack. So I'm curious to get your POV on this. So last year, what I had said was, hey, when you are utilizing catalog ads, it's actually a different algorithm from what Meta uses with the traditional video and images because they are using SKU level data to help with that targeting. And I view this as a bit of a competitive hack because if Meta sees, oh, one of your competitors is selling a black leather loafer and you, the customer, are a 7.5 and you go to this competitor and you're like, hey, they're out of a 7.5, then Meta potentially is going to target people, to target you with brands that actually have that in stock. Is that still how catalog ads are working in 2025?
That's exactly right. One thing that we'll get into is how to actually make that targeting system to make it even work even better using AI. So we'll get into that in a bit. So when you're running catalog ads, you're running on a totally different targeting algorithm.
Yeah.
Right? If you're a brand that has like more than a few SKUs, if you look at an image ad or a video ad, how many SKUs can you fit in there? A few?
Some would try to go go a lot, but I'd say max like 5. But that's like even tough. It should be a bundle.
But if you're a brand, right, so 5 max if you're pushing it, if you're lucky.
Yeah.
Maybe you can get away with 5. But most brands have tens, 50, 100, some 1,000. Most companies that we work with have hundreds of thousands, even millions of SKUs.
Yeah.
Okay. So how could you possibly advertise your business, effectively with using creative if you have 50 SKUs, 100 SKUs, or a few hundred? So when you upload a product catalog, right, it's a spreadsheet of all this product information, and the information in that spreadsheet really matters because of the following reason, right? So you'll have your product image, you'll have the sizes of the product, the dimensions. It's like the central source of truth of like what you have to sell. Every e-commerce business, whether you realize it or not, even if you're brand new, you have a product feed, right? And you're usually using some sort of software to manage that. Shopify has a very basic, simple native one that isn't so good. The Shopify app ecosystem has a bunch of apps you can download that will help you do really much cooler stuff. But essentially, they're all glorified spreadsheets of all the products that you have and information about them, the description, and so on, right? Like, let's say you sell out of something, right? Or let's say, of a certain size. The way that the targeting works is it'll like read what you have in your product catalog, and it'll look for other people who are searching for very similar products. Like Meta knows what you're looking for at any given moment,
it
right?
knows what you're in market for based on your other searches.
Exactly. And one comparison I like to make is that, on Amazon when you're searching for a product and you have product intent, and then you scroll a little bit under like that's the most optimized page on the internet, the Amazon product page, right? Like that's probably the most A/B tested page on the internet. So you scroll down right below the product and you see the "you may also like" section where it has like similar products that are like from different brands, right? How much brand discovery happens there? A lot.
Quite a
Probably.
bit, yeah. It's also like built-in customer research, in my opinion. You know, I also think that like some brands are going to be watching this and be like, well, I don't want to use catalog ads because I don't want my competitors to have the upper hand. But what I actually think that this is doing in a way, it's almost like dark psychology. Like it's facilitating the act of customer research and being like, hey, here are other options that you can have. And like with Amazon's discovery page, like they're not showing better options a lot of the times. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying that this is what Meta is doing. I don't think that they're going to show like lesser products. Like they want to have a lot of trust with their users, obviously. But I do think that by your audience being able to see what else is out there, it's actually a benefit.
Exactly. Yeah. Meta is what Meta is trying to do is just when it finds out that you're in the market for something in particular, it's trying to show you other similar things that other brands are selling that maybe, you know, in the similar style or in the similar price range or quality range that is like fits the description of what you're currently looking for, which then enables a ton of brand discovery. Like anyone who's shopping for furniture for their home has seen the advantages of this.
Yeah.
Where you're like, you recently moved, right?
Yeah.
So you were probably doing some furniture shopping and you might have seen Meta ads that are like showing you a bunch of home decor items that are similar to your style and taste.
Showing me a $10,000 couch, not quite yet, but you know, one day.
Right. When you upload a video ad or an image ad, the algorithm can't possibly know what sizes you have available for that shoe in, or details like the dimensions of the product, right? Or even the weight, right? All of these things play a role in the targeting decisions made when catalog ads are served. So you're tapping into a way more intent-based targeting system because you're showing product images that are really relevant to people at the very exact moment that they're like looking for those kind of things, which is why back in the day it used to just be retargeting.
Yeah.
Right? It used to just be like the best we can do is show someone an image of the product that they already looked at. That was like when pixels were like becoming huge.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh gosh.
But now it's like they've learned how to turn this into like real like acquisition campaign type.
So something else that we talked about last year too was, you know, I consider these boring ads, right? I think when you say catalog ads, the first thing that comes to mind is product on a white background, headline that is the product name, maybe some primary text that is taken from the description of your PDP, really bland stuff. I know you brought some examples of some new and improved DPA ads. Yeah. And I'd love to take a look and see if you can stump me on which ones are DPA and which ones aren't.
Amazing. Amazing. I have a pop quiz for you, a catalog creative quiz.
I did not do well on this last
year. We're bringing you a new series called Marpipe Presents Is It a Catalog Ad? Okay, with Dara. So
you know, it was going to be Jeopardy, but like this is a close second.
All right, so we're gonna run through a few rounds. We got a few rounds for you. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, cool. This is image number 1. This is round number 1.
Is it a catalog ad? So I'm gonna say yes because plain product, like it's just the product on a plain background. Again, it has the product name in the headline, which is something that I had called out. And I also see the shop now. I don't know. I take one look at that and I'm like, yeah, that's a catalog ad.
And you'd be exactly correct. So this is your prototypical.
Thank God.
So this is, I mean, we're starting easy. It's going to get harder. Yeah. But this is your prototypical catalog ad. Like when people think catalog ads, just like you described, product image on white background, you know, right now, 95% of catalog ads on the market look like this.
Yes.
And so it's really easy to tell when you see one. Right. So so this is the most common type of catalog ad. And when I use the term when I'm at a marketing event and I talk to marketers and I say catalog ad and there's that question mark, I'm like, you know, ads like that, I show them on my phone and they're like, oh, yeah, those. Right. So this is your classic catalog ad. Now, let's do round 2 here.
Another Lululemon ad. Bring your A game. I mean, this definitely looks more lifestyle based. Made to move, ready to stand out. These Sporty new styles are the one to watch. That copywriting. New scout and new gear. So I see something like this and I think, okay, this is going to be directed to a new collections page, newly launched or whatever. And it's also learn more. So my immediate reaction is no, but I know you're a trickster, so what is it?
All right, you'd be right.
Thank God.
Boom.
I still have my day job.
So this is your classic image ad, right? Like this isn't focusing on a particular SKU. You know, this is your classic image ad that's trying to do a lot of heavy lifting by bringing on a bunch of different SKUs and category types. So there's men's and women's clothing in this one. It's an image ad trying to do a bunch of work, and you know, it's kind of branded. So this is your classic image ad. One thing I'll just show here is like, I thought it was interesting. Like when I just looked at Lululemon's Facebook ad library, I'm like, what ads is Lululemon running, right? Pretty good marketer.
It's not a good brand, I'd say, to like draw creative inspiration from.
I would agree.
But if you want to work with us,
we don't have them as a client yet, but we have a lot of their competitors. So, maybe I can say that.
Yeah.
But I just took a snapshot of the top of their Facebook ad library, just the first 2 rows here. And you can see that 7 out of the 10 ads here are catalog ads, which just underscores the frequency, like how prevalent catalog ads actually are. This is just a snapshot from the top, but if you kept scrolling in their ad library, you would see the same thing. Like there is, I'd say around 70% of their ad spend is going towards catalog ads that look like what you saw in round 1.
And it makes sense for the business model too, right? Because like they're primarily retail. Like, yes, they do have a direct to consumer business with people going to their online store, but I'd say like their marketing funnel is not someone discovers them on Instagram or Facebook. It's like they have such a big top of funnel that is like they are like trying to squeeze as much as they can out of their ad spend that they are using, which is why DPA makes sense for them at such a large level.
Exactly. I'd agree. That's right. Let's look at round 3 here.
Is this a catalog ad? Okay. It's a race against save it to 40%. This is one where I'm like 50-50, could go either way, because I always zoom in on it being a specific product that I'm like, ooh, like I think this could be DPA. And since it's also really simple, like I know that a lot of the DPA like creative formats could take something like this and make this ad creative. The headline is giving me a little pause because it seems broader. My official answer is going to be no.
It's a catalog ad. It's a catalog ad.
Yes.
Now, how the hell is that a catalog ad, right? Because we just saw an example of catalog ad. It was just a regular image on a white background, right? Here's how you can tell. So On is using, like all Marpipe customers, they're using a set of creative tools that will allow them to change how their design how their catalog images look in certain instances when they're serving ads, right? So in this instance, in their product catalog, On has categorized by seasons, right? There's last season and there's the current season as 2 categories. And on last season, they're running a 25% sale because they want to get rid of last season's inventory.
Ah, okay.
Right? So what they're doing is they're taking product image number 1, which you see at the bottom here, and product image number 2, which is just a different angle of the same product, and they build a template where image 1 is at the bottom right, 2 is at the top left, and then there's a templatized copy here that says last season save X%, and that's a dynamic percentage, right? So if it was a different shoe, if it was the Cloud 4, for example, and that is only on a 20% discount, that would change when you see it. It would say save 20% on the Cloud 4, for example. So this is a dynamic template that they're using that they built to change how their catalog ads look, to make them look a little bit more branded, a little better, and to highlight the sale.
Okay.
All right. Round 4.
I won't be tricked this time. Reformation. So this is also a really specific like shoe that's like being targeted in the primary text. I can also see that they're using a lot of different like angles of the shoe in. I'm gonna say yes, this is a catalog ad.
Ding, 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 ding.
I'm learning, thank goodness.
You got it. You got it. Exactly. They created a design that just has 4 versions of the product image from 4 different angles for the shoe. And you see how the copy says everyone loves insert product name, the Ludo
actually, that
sandal.
was the sell-in for me because it was like capitalized, and I was like, reads like a template to me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it would say everyone loves whatever other shoe is being promoted as part of this shoe-based template.
Yeah.
Because this copy shoe in would only apply to the shoe template. So this design, Reformation has tons of categories
Yeah.
of stuff they sell, but this just applies to the shoes. And then round 5.
Come move with us. Now this is interesting because apply for Sweat Collective. This is an application for whatever the Sweat Collective is. So I'd say no.
Got to keep you on your toes. You got that right. Now it gets interesting.
Oh, the video. I wonder if this is the elusive video DPA that we'll talk about later too. Shop casual. So this is a little broader though. I'm going to say yes.
You're going to say this is a catalog ad?
Yeah, I am.
Why?
The reason why is because it is going like shop casual tells me that they might have created a collection, and this specific DPA is like going to that collection like content. That is my guess. Oh, good.
You're wrong. Sorry. This is just a regular video ad.
Okay.
This is just like a branded video ad that they made.
Yeah.
Pretty straightforward, just like kind of brand stuff that you see in an account. Now, let's go to round 7 here.
Chip from the hip. I'd say yes. I think
Yeah.
this is all from their catalog. Yeah, yeah.
This is a pretty easy one, right?
Yeah.
You could see the difference, like the difference between a catalog video and a regular video is pretty damn clear, right?
Oh, okay. Well, that actually makes a lot more sense to me then. I have seen some brands put like lifestyle videos into their catalog or into their like, product feed. So I've seen similar ones, but I think this is a much better like cut and dry example of like what's more optimal with like video DPA essentially. And it's funny too because it's like I know like creatives who've made this ad before like themselves.
So like this is your kind of really classic example. And remember, product level video, which is just video driven catalog ads. These are new. This is brand new. This just became live last year. And it's a really fast growing category. There's a lot of different things you can do. You can bring in lifestyle video like what you saw previously. That's possible. But when you see this is a really clear cut example of like, you know, there's a specific product type being mentioned and it's the same product. It's what you would see on a product page. It's the images you would see there just in a slideshow, which makes it just work so much better than just a static piece of DPA. This is actually a repeat of the last one. So we're gonna leave it. One thing I'll just highlight is that just this sort of before and after of like there's raw catalog ads and then there's like enriched catalog ads. Raw catalog ads is when we don't edit the creative at all, and enriched is when we make some, you know, some sort of dynamic templates that apply to those creatives. So how did you do on your quiz? I think you got out of 7. I think you got
like
3
4
wrong.
Or 5? Yeah, 4 out of 7.
4 out of 7. 4 out of 7.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm doing a better job when it's harder to differentiate what's catalog ad and what's not. I feel like I'm doing a better job because catalog ads, even like without any enriched, raw catalog ads work really well, generally work better for a lot of brands than just image and video, but they look bad. And so when you make them look good, how much better they work is just a testament to like all the levers you can pull for this creative format.
Yeah. I love that. Thanks for doing that game with me. I'm curious to hear for those of you in the comments too, how many you guys got right. So be sure to let us know. Now, I want to move on to performance and strategy updates. Like what is new with DPA in 2025? So we did a huge video last year. What are some of the changes that you've seen for catalog ads since we last talked?
There's a ton of news and there's a ton of innovation happening in the space, a ton that brand owners need to keep up with. Catalog ads is really enabled by the things that platforms like Meta build to enable it, right?
Yeah.
So there's been so many updates, right? Some that have worked really well and some that have not. So for example, some that have worked really well, some updates that Meta has made that have hit really hard is product level video. That works really well. That's new. Before you were never able to run videos in the catalog ad placement. But now if you have videos in your product catalog, you can actually run those using the same targeting advantage that catalog ads have. And it's a slam dunk hit, you know, usually every time. The one big blocker to adoption that a lot of brands have is that a lot of brands don't have a unique video for every SKU. Right?
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Which is something you need to have to run product level video. So Marpet
Could you do it for like your best sellers though, like as something to test, or like would you recommend having video for every single thing in your catalog?
I mean, you wanna have a video for every single thing in your catalog to really benefit from the format type,
Yeah.
right? Because otherwise, you could just make, if you want to make a few videos for your hero products, you could just do that normally with video ads.
Could you just AI it?
Yeah, you can, and that's what Marpipe is enabling brands to do.
Ah,
right
okay,
now.
I led you to that one.
Yeah. So you can build right now you can build basic templates.
Yeah.
When you say can you AI it, there's several things that could mean. One of the things that Meta released that didn't hit, which is the generative backgrounds.
Yeah.
Okay. These white backgrounds are like so ugly, right? On most catalog ads. So Meta's trying to fix that problem by like making generative AI backgrounds like by default.
Yes.
They actually toggled the setting on by default for tons of brands that didn't even know it was on.
Oh, I didn't realize that was happening for catalog ads specifically.
People just ask us, even if you're not a customer, you can ask us
Yeah.
questions. And they're like, why is my like couch skew floating on a beach?
That's
Like,
hilarious. I'm sorry.
and Meta was just doing it, on autopilot. And unfortunately, that either like it's a combination of like the tech's not quite
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
but also like you kind of totally surrender brand control. Like you can't really set parameters. You can't be like, don't put my couch on a beach, like to Meta, right? And it'll just kind of do whatever,
Yeah.
right? So there's really it's really hard to have like any creative control over it. So that's one of the new updates that like really didn't pan out. One thing, let's go back to that did pan out, is there's adaptive placements which released, which is which means that now catalog ads used to only run on certain like formats and
Yeah.
placements, usually like 1x1 type formats, but now they can run anywhere, and they adapt. If you have multiple dimensions like the 9x16s
Yeah.
of your images, then they fit really nicely and perform well in like story set placements and much wider placement selection.
Yeah.
So catalog ads are working well, and they have much more reach now, which just means that they just perform better usually.
Yeah, because now they can show up in like Reels placements, for instance, which like an interesting fact that I learned at the Meta Performance Summit was that 50% of time spent on Instagram now is now spent on Reels specifically. So I think that was like one downside of DPA last year, was like it wasn't able to be like fully optimized for the Reels experience. But now, because that you're actually able to have that like expansion and like format, it's now like able to like go into that format. It performs a lot better, to my understanding.
Exactly. And how much easier it is to run catalog ads on Reels than to create tons of Reels all day, every day.
Yeah.
Right? Like sort of the creative bandwidth required to like meet this format can be much easier if you're just good at catalog ads, right? So that's one thing that worked really well that's new. One thing that, let's go back to, that didn't pan out is this like big Shopify Meta integration. Shopify Meta announced this big integration. There's the Meta Shops is kind of winding back a little bit right now. A lot of brands felt duped because when Shopify announced that you can just plug into Meta and run your product catalog on Meta, they assumed that like Shopify had like a good tool set for product feed management when you imported your products to Meta. But Shopify's native, even on Shopify Plus, their native tool set to just do things like organize your products into product sets or categories, or to modify fields, or to add in fields like a reviews column. Basic things like that are like not part of Shopify's vanilla feature set. You need to use Shopify apps for that. There exists like a whole app ecosystem around this. So when they built their direct integration with Meta, you couldn't do all those things that you just like bare minimum expectations of like things you should be able to do, and like how you can organize your feed in Meta. Meta doesn't have those features either, like catalog organization features, right? So once you establish that connection, it was really hard to unwind, right? It was really hard to undo it. So a lot of brands did feel like jaded about catalogs and catalog ads in general when they tried to go through that integration, and it didn't quite pan out. That's one of the things that was like a misdirection that is kind of being unwound right now. And that's an area where also we're announcing like a free product. It'll be free forever, which is a Shopify app that just fixes that for brands.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
if they have a problem with like their Shopify meta integration and organizing categories, Marpipe's free version of the free app will just like fix that for you.
Would you say this free product is like a good intro for catalog ads for brands as well?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Very
It's
cool.
just a basic feed management tool. We're
Yeah.
not gonna it's not gonna enrich or optimize the catalog ads, but it's just the basic if you're looking to just get started with product catalogs, it's a really easy and free way in. So if you're a smaller Shopify store and you're like, I wanna create a nice product feed, a good spreadsheet without having to do too much like spreadsheet work, and I just want to test raw catalog ads on Meta, TikTok, Snap, wherever.
Yeah.
You can just really easily do that with the free app. And then one other thing is I'd say the last piece is like new. That's one of the big changes is data driven. The amount of information in your product feed
Yeah.
plays a huge role in the performance of your product set. So if you're missing data
Yeah.
in your product feed, like you don't have the sizes in there and you need to add those, that's going to hurt your performance if you don't
Yeah.
have the sizes of your products in there, if you don't have the weight, if you don't have a really nice, big, meaty description of the product, right? So all those things play a big role. One of the big problems was that if you have a big product catalog of 100 or several hundred products, it's almost impractical to like substantially build out all of these fields.
Yeah.
But with Gen AI, with text-based Gen AI, like generative text,
Yeah.
you can it can read your products and then supplement the descriptions and the taxonomy and like what category your product fits into substantially more. So you can add all these columns of much more information about your product that will substantially improve the targeting, the relevance, and how
Yeah.
often your product comes up in the serving algorithm.
And this is something that happens with like the free version of Marpipe, for instance.
That part is paid.
Okay, got it. Just had to
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah.
Very cool. Now, I want to dial in a little bit on the creative aspect of DPA. So, one question that one topic that I always hear about right now is creative diversity. How do you think DPA can specifically help with creative diversity?
This was a big thing at Cannes, actually.
Yeah.
So I was on a panel at Cannes, and this creative diversity question came up, and I was like the catalog guy, and there was like this, there was like this other, there was this woman on the panel who was talking about like creative diversity from like a different perspective, like from a creative volume,
Yeah.
and using AI to make a ton of creative. But actually, a catalog campaign is one campaign that is showing all of your products.
Yeah.
And if you supplement it with like some templates, let's say you build one creative template,
Yeah.
right? And you say you have 200 products. Now you have like 400 ads because you have the original ones and then you have the new template
Yeah.
ones. And then Marpipe's best practice for new customers is we'll build you 5 or 6 to start, right? So the sheer amount of like creative diversity that enters your account when you have like a decently sized product catalog
Yeah.
and you pair that with some creative templates, it's almost unbeatable. You can't possibly try to manually make that many ads. And even with the help of Gen AI, right? Like with all these Gen AI creative tools, like
Yeah.
factors a bunch of trash and you kind of have to cherry pick the stuff that like
Yeah.
kind of works, right? So I think that catalog ads are like the biggest hack to creative diversity. You're serving all of your product, like all of these product ads at the same time, right? With doing like minimal creative work, right? It's
Yeah.
really low creative bandwidth to like really high outcome of permutations of creative possibilities.
Yeah. How many, or do you have favorite templates that you always suggest brands work with for DPA?
Yes. On our website, we have in our main nav, we have a really popular section of our site called examples. We tried to put together like a library of
Yeah.
creative inspiration for brands on like, here's hundreds of examples of what other brands are doing and building,
Yeah.
what you can make in Marpipe, right? So these are like ads that were really made in Marpipe.
Yeah.
So you can kind of see the possibilities, and a bunch of them, you can't even tell they're catalog ads. That's the
Yeah.
whole point, right? And so in terms of like specific creative templates, we have like a bunch of the ones that you'll see there that you can pull out as best practices. But in terms of like what typically works, one thing that hasn't changed on what works and one thing that did change on what works, right?
Yeah.
So one thing that stays the same that's like old reliable is just running sales in your catalog ads. It's like the lowest hanging fruit and the highest payoff. So like
Interesting. And would you recommend this for like a always on strategy, or is there also like leaning into this during like really big sale periods like Black Friday, Cyber Monday?
leaning in when you're running big sales. So few brands when they're running a sale, think, let's create a template for our catalog ads that applies to the products that are on sale.
That seems like low-hanging fruit to me, though.
It's such low-hanging fruit. It's such a performance hit every time. Every time, like, we don't even do case studies about it anymore because we have too many. Because like it just always works and it's so easy to do, and so few brands think about doing it. Right? Like if you're running a sale, you need to add to your checklist, like make a template. And you could, with Marpipe, it's so you could just literally write the words like sale, X% off. And then, you know, you could just pre-schedule it to run during the days that the sale's active. That's it. Your catalogs should be reflecting your sales. That's kind of all reliable. That's been working for a long time.
Yeah.
And the new thing is something that we touched on already, which is the product level video. It is now easier than ever to build a simple video template that's just like a slideshow of your various product images. That's all it needs to be, really. It doesn't need to be anything fancy. You don't need to like get a video designer. You can do this. Like, I'm not a designer and I can build these. I just literally you know, it's a slideshow of the different versions of the product image and like the brand in there. And that's a, you know, new thing brands are just learning about and adopting like at scale this year. That's working really well and is also, I think, low-hanging fruit.
Now I want to dig into some of the more technical and platform updates. Like obviously people that watch my channel are really focused on meta ads specifically, but I want to dive into some other platforms that you're seeing a lot of success with DPA. Because like, I'm going to be honest, like for me, meta ads and DPA makes sense. A little bit TikTok, but I'm, you know, concerned and like didn't have personal great experience there. But like, where else are you seeing a lot of success with this ad format type?
Yeah, I'm going to give you 3 sleepers and a 4th complete curveball.
Okay, love it.
So catalog ads are huge on Meta. They're 40% of Meta's global revenue comes from catalog ads. So all these other ad platforms that look at, you know, that are trying to compete with Meta, like Pinterest, TikTok, all those, you know, they're like, okay, catalog ads work really well on this platform. How come they're not also a huge chunk of our ad spend? Can we be cashing in on the same trend? There's some platforms that have taken catalog ads extremely seriously and have recently totally overhauled how catalog ads work on that platform, right? And, you know, we are in a really fortunate place where we get to talk to a lot of the senior executives and engineers at these companies about like how they're building out their catalog ads platform, because, you know, we can then make recommendations to our clients about like where they should test things. So 3 sleepers. One is a place where, like, if you don't know, you should know, but this isn't new, but catalog ads have always been working extremely well on Pinterest. Pinterest is a really good platform for catalog ads. We see that the majority of most folks' ad spend is on catalog ads on Pinterest.
Interesting. I have a troubled relationship with Pinterest ad manager. I'm not going to lie. And I've also found it hard to get clients on the platform because they expect a meta-like performance. Is catalog ads sort of the answer for that? Do they find it to be more for retargeting audiences? Like, what's your POV?
We find catalog ads is so like you're expecting the type of like if you're trying to do like this rapid type of creative testing that you're used to on Meta, where you're uploading tons of UGC and video and statics, you know, Pinterest isn't like that, right? And it's really hard to compete with Meta on that side, right? So we've seen that this like catalog ad, a really good, like nicely built out, well organized product catalog plugged into Pinterest is a really good way to set it and forget it there.
Interesting. So if you're on Meta crushing it, you have your catalog like all optimized.
Yeah.
What like industries or like types of brands do you think is like a no-brainer for them to try Pinterest?
It's less on industry and more on SKU count. Like if you have more than 50 SKUs, and especially if you have more than 100 SKUs, you should be testing it for sure. But we see like, obviously there's apparel, but then like furniture, jewelry, like any kind of e-com that has like, that's really building out their SKU set. Like, you know, Ridge started out with just wallets, but now they have luggage and rings and all that stuff. So, you know, Simple Modern, Hexclad, right? These are all brands. These are DTC brands that started out with a hero SKU, and now they have tons of SKUs.
Right.
And so if it's working well for you on Meta, it'll probably also work well for you on Pinterest. Pinterest has a good catalog ads offering, and it's easy to set up and it's easy to test.
Okay.
So it's worth trying, especially before like Q4 ramps up. 2 sleepers that just have recently renovated their offering is Snap and Reddit. Okay, so Reddit has realized that a ton of their traffic comes from product searches on Google, right? So you know, like
So true, because when I am like doing research for a product, I will literally type in product name Reddit.
exactly.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
You'll product name Reddit.
Yep.
And then you'll skip the Google shopping ads and you'll go to the Reddit
Yep.
link. And so much of Reddit's traffic comes from that. And I'm like, guys, you need to monetize that, right? Like you need to bring the catalog ads into the Reddit searches and be targeting those like
Yeah,
really
yeah,
high
yeah.
intent impressions. So they've recently overhauled their whole system on how catalog ad targeting works so that they can actually pick up on those intent signals. So your catalog ads can show up when people go to the Reddit for your product. So if you have something that people talk about on Reddit, you need to be running catalog ads on Reddit. It's a new system. They just came out with it, and early results look promising, although it is pretty early right now.
I feel like that's an easy win for like someone who's at an agency or like someone who's working on a growth team and is like their bosses are like, hey, like what are some of the new things we can try? That Reddit one is one that I'm probably going to bring up on my call tonight with a brand.
Agreed, you should.
Yeah.
The last one is Snap, which everyone has the misconception is like, oh my God, it's just a bunch of high school kids. That's not the case anymore. The majority of their audience is millennials that have a bunch of purchasing power. And
Actually, like my friends in the Midwest all use Snapchat.
that's crazy, right?
Yeah, and they're like
yeah.
in their mid 30s. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't partake. I feel like on the West Coast and the East Coast, like it doesn't quite translate. But I have noticed a big pocket of like middle America that uses Snapchat religiously.
Yes. I was shocked when I heard about their like actual like, you know, their audience numbers. If you like me wrote off Snapchat because you think that it's like for just like high school kids, it's definitely worth a try. And they have just recently overhauled how catalog ad targeting works on there. So,
Yeah.
so they're it's much more effective now, and they're also offering some cool incentives soon. So if we're actually going to be like partnering with them and announcing some cool incentives, I think pretty soon. Keeping an eye out. The last final piece that is the curveball is catalog ads on TV. How does that work?
How does that work?
How does that work? So Universal Ads has come out swinging.
Yeah.
Universal Ads is a new CTV, new platform for running performance ads on TV.
Yeah.
Right. So a lot of brands that are listening to this, you know, probably still haven't tried like CTV ads for performance.
No, not at all. Not many.
Universal Ads has just rolled out a platform that is as self-serve and as easy to use, verified by me, like, and my team. Like, it's really crazy. It feels and looks just like Meta Ads Manager, and it's just as easy to launch pieces of creative and run them and test them at limited spend levels.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so approachable. It's so easy to deploy. It's really, and it's self-serve. Like you don't need to like deal with some like
hire an agency or like manage quote unquote TV for you or CTV. Yeah.
Exactly. It's totally self-serve friendly. It's really approachable. I was really impressed with the platform they put together, and it's totally performance oriented. This isn't like some brand awareness TV thing.
Yeah.
You don't need to be a big brand to run TV. We have tons of small Shopify brands that are crushing TV performance ads right now. And how do you bring catalog ads to TV? There's video templates that you can make that focus on highlighting certain categories of what's different in the day. So for example, like today's top 3 best sellers on our website were this product, this product, this product. Today's most discounted items are this product, this product, this product. Today's highest reviewed
Wait,
products.
that's the ad? Like
Yes.
it like oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
It's like a video template suited at highlighting certain categories of products that are like changing intraday or intra-week.
Okay, so it's less about, because I think like when people hear that, they're like, how are you targeting the right people with the right products? And it's a little bit more about like the store doing
Exactly.
the targeting, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay,
It's about showcasing
Interesting.
what's moving, what people care most about at any given moment. We haven't reached the stage in CTV yet where it's like the perfect targeting to hit the right person
Yeah.
at the right time. But so far, this format is working extremely well on a performance basis, and we're scaling it with tons of small Shopify brands that don't have crazy
Like how
budgets.
small?
Like you know, like you could be spending like $5,000 a week
Oh,
on CTV ads and be getting great performance. Yeah.
interesting.
As a matter of fact,
Yes.
I'm giving away $10,000 there's two qualifiers, right?
Yeah.
I want to give like a shout out to the audience here. You know, you guys are awesome, and I wanted to bring something really special to you guys. And as a thank you to you, we've recently made, you know, catalog ads possible on CTV, and it's working really well. And we want to get as many people to try it as possible to see for themselves. So we're going to put our money where our mouth is. And
Love it.
And we're offering tons of brands who are qualified. Like we have so much to give away. As long as you advertise in the United States,
Okay.
and as long as your monthly overall ad budget is around 100K or more, right? Meaning anywhere. So that's not just on Meta, like your total ad budget, 100K per month.
Which I feel like is attainable for a lot of brands watching this.
A lot of small brands are spending, you know, 100K a month is like, as an overall ad budget for every channel combined, that, you know, that's like, yeah. So as long as you kind of clear that bar, then you're very likely qualified to get this 10K credit.
Should they have a certain amount of SKUs? Should they already have a catalog? Like,
so for the catalog ads, you know, the more SKUs you have, the better it'll work.
Yeah.
That's just in general for catalog ads. I'd encourage anyone who fits those parameters to apply. It's at marpipe.com/universal.
Yeah.
Right. We have a lander set up, and we want to, it's just really easy. Just like tell us about your brand, and we'll let you know if you're qualified. We've already got tons of Marpipe customers onboarded here. And it's just ripping. And so 5K a week, think about it. That's 2 weeks of free ad spend on TV where you could really run a proper test and see if there's a channel that works for you. Like with zero creative bandwidth.
Yeah.
Right? You don't need to make any creative for this. You don't need to shoot a TV ad. We got that part covered for you. And you're not risking any spend. So
I think that's the best offer that's ever come across my channel. So that's great. I'm going to definitely be submitting a few brands that I'm working with to test it out, because I think this could be really cool for them. And the more that I am working with brands going into 2025, TV keeps on popping up a lot, and I think that this is like a really great way for them to test it out. Amazing. So thank you so much, Dan. Now I want to dive into some rapid fire questions, and then we're going to dive deeper into Marpipe. So rapid fire questions. What is the number one thing that people get wrong about catalog ads?
Okay. I got 3.
I feel like you're really, overcompensating here.
Okay. What do people get wrong about catalog ads?
Yes.
Rapid fire. 1, that they have to be ugly. They don't have to be ugly. They can be really good looking. 2 is that they're not good for brand awareness, right?
Ooh,
they can be amazing for
that's a
brand
good one.
awareness and really good for prospecting. In fact, most brands rely on them for that. And then number 3 is that high frequency is bad, right? High frequency is actually great for catalogs because remember, you're showing the same person a bunch of different products at the same time.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not the same creative always hitting them. It's a bunch of different products. So a lot of people won't scale catalog ads beyond a certain piece of high frequency, but that's wrong.
So I love what you said about catalog ads being good for brand awareness, because there were a number of people that commented on last year's video saying that catalog ads were only for retargeting. And I feel like you've spoken a lot to that today, so I'm glad that we have that one marked as a myth. Next question. What's one brand that you want to put on blast? Who is doing catalog ads wrong?
eBay.
Oh my goodness!
Generally, marketplaces have the most to gain from catalog ads.
And they squander that potential.
Squander it the most.
Yeah,
you know? So like marketplaces like eBay or Poshmark or even Walmart.
So true. Yes.
Are just like, you look at their Facebook ad libraries and it's 100% catalog ads. They're spending millions of dollars a month on those catalog ads and there's zero creative involved.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa.
Because they have no enriched DPAs.
Yeah, because they're not, it's hard for them to organize their feeds, which should be easy to do now with newer tools. They're not organizing their feed. They're not like focusing on the creative. They don't have a team that's dedicated to feed-based creative. And so like, I think this is just a muscle that they need to develop that they haven't yet. It's like they're suffering for it, but how much internal impetus is there at eBay to really zhuzh things up? I don't really know.
Yeah.
But I think that they could be crushing it. Way more than they are now.
I love that one. I actually totally agree. And I wouldn't have thought of marketplaces. So that's a good one. Who is a brand doing catalog ads right?
One marketplace that I'll highlight that is really doing catalog ads right is Wayfair. So Wayfair is nuts. They have a huge internal department
Yeah.
that is like a whole catalog creative team. And they've built out a ton of their own internal tools. They have tons of engineers on this,
Yeah.
focused on organizing the catalog, labeling everything properly, the descriptions, building out the data. And they have creatives like making custom,
Yeah.
creative templates and treatments for all of their different product categories. So if you see any Wayfair ads out there, they're all catalog ads, but they look amazing and they look really good. And Wayfair is just really crushing that category. That's why they're probably the biggest furniture retailer in the US right now. And then there's a regular brand that I really like that just really does catalog ads well as On Running.
Yeah, you showed one of their examples today. They're great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next one. What is one quick and easy change that people can make to their catalog ads that anyone should be able to do in under 1 hour?
Two things. First, if you're new to catalog ads, one thing that you can do really easily is just plug in. If you haven't tested catalog ads, you can really easily just using the Marpipe Shopify app.
Yeah, the free one.
The free one, right? You can just create a product feed and
Yeah.
then launch and test it across tons of different channels.
Yeah.
Like especially the ones that I've mentioned here, like, Snap or Pinterest or not just Meta, right? And you can just kind of run a really holistic, easy test of catalog ads everywhere.
Yeah.
And just see if it works. So that's like one low-hanging fruit thing that you can do, that just like test it all.
Yeah.
Test all the platforms. How many brands here on this video have tested all the platforms with catalog ads, right? I don't think many, right? It's just not, it's not a thing most people.
Even I haven't, so.
Yeah, it can be really easy to do with some of the tools that are out there now.
Yeah.
And then the second piece, which is not free to do, but something you can do with Marpipe, is we've launched a suite of tools called optimizations. When it comes to your catalog ads, like it's kind of a black box where the spend is going.
Yeah.
You don't know like which SKUs are performing the best necessarily in your campaigns.
Very true, actually. Yeah, that is one question that I always get asked about DPA is like, how do I know which products are doing the best?
Exactly.
Using catalog ads.
Right. So it's not easy to find that information, but if you plug in Meta and Shopify into Marpipe, we can actually triangulate it. And we can see like how well are certain SKUs performing in your catalog. And more so, we can see where's their inefficiency. So like is like a really like low ROAS SKU in one of your highest spent on SKUs in your catalog campaign. And then we can automatically remove that from your like live catalog so that you're not like spending a bunch of money on like a low performing SKU.
Yeah.
To turn that on is just flipping a switch.
Yeah.
It's just called optimizations, and you just flip a switch and it optimizes it for you, and that's it.
Interesting. I have a few like brands that I'm going to recommend that to try. This is a more broad question, but what is the best piece of advertising that you've seen in the last week?
That one like dentist in the Midwest that's churning out the Gen AI creative of like the like monkey jumping off a like parachuting out of an airplane, and he's like, at least I have white. It's just like ridiculous Gen AI hooks. Gen AI is creating some really cool stuff out there. So I'm seeing some really awesome, just this has nothing to do with catalog ads. I'm a big fan of the Gen AI video out there.
I actually, on my way here, I saw an ad that I really liked on Twitter of all places. I'm going to show it to you because I think it combines like something that we know works pretty well with like, something that's a little more static. What I think is funny about this though is like, I actually had to do it like a triple take on this because I was like, wait, like they're referring to the holidays. It is July and 90 degrees in New York. And I was like, wait, is this like, did someone accidentally turn this on? But it was like referencing the holidays. And then I liked, that it says it's not generated by AI, but it makes me happy. My one complaint here is this is clearly like a man's handwriting. But, that was just one I happened to see today.
That's a good one.
Interesting. Watch, I'll show this on this channel, and then now we'll see like hundreds of brands copying that. Because I have mentioned like ad creative formats that I then see replicated out there in the ether. I love it. Okay, favorite brand as a customer. Like, who are you like a brand fan of as like a customer? Like, who's like a brand, like every time they put out a new product or whatever that you're like, wow, I'm going to buy that.
Can I say like Canva?
Ooh, Ooh, that's an interesting one.
I think
they
Canva
just
crushes.
acquired Magic Brief too, which was announced at Cannes, which was a move.
Acquired Magic Brief. I think they're making really big moves in advertising.
Yeah.
I have a lot of envy for how they build their product, and like they're
I'm
just
a
like
Canva power user. Like, I love Canva.
I think they're crushing it, and I think that like I almost hate to admit it because like I want to be like one of those like Figma cool kids, but like I'm not
a Figma cool kid.
I'm not a sophisticated designer. Canva, I really envy like how good their product is and the
So
ease of
good.
use. And you know, Marpipe is also a design tool, so like I kind of look up to them, and I'm like, look, they're really doing the most on innovating on making design really simple.
Yeah.
They're almost like the CapCut of desktop. You know, and like
that.
the way that they do their product marketing is amazing. The way that they do their creative conference, their presence at places like Cannes.
Honestly, like it's one of my like goals as a creator to be invited to like Canva Creates.
Yeah.
So
like
good.
it's awesome. Yeah, that would be so fun, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
they also like I feel like they have fun with it too. You know, like I don't know, like I love Canva. I'm a Canva fan.
Yeah.
I'm not ashamed to admit it.
Yeah, same. I'm also a Canva fan. What about who are some of your favorite brands as an advertiser? So like looking at it from the advertiser lens, like who are some brands that you're like, I love their creative, I love their strategy?
I want to highlight one brand that I think a lot of people know, but I don't think that they understand quite how sophisticated their operation is.
I will kick you off this channel if it's Liquid Death.
It's Quince. Okay. Look, we work with a lot of marketing teams.
Yeah.
And we talk to marketing teams all day, senior level CMOs all the way down to like, you know, just kind of entry level designers on the teams. I'll say this. I'm biased because Quince has like folks that are just dedicated to catalog creative and like and catalog catalog driven advertising. And I think more brands should have teams like that. But that's not all that they have. They have tons of like really vertical focused like teams that like the way that their marketing team is built is really a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
That's like built for the digital age that takes advantage of every single different like type of creative format and product type.
Yeah.
So they're really doing it right, and they're like their org structure is really worth looking at.
Yeah, I am a huge fan of Quince. I actually think they're one of my favorite examples to give brands that want to see more elevated creative that is still performance. So I think they toe that line really, really well. Last two questions. Worst mistake that you see advertisers making in 2025?
Over-indexing on one channel.
Wow. Way to not parse words. I feel like I over-index on Meta.
Over-indexing on Meta.
Yeah.
You can do better, and catalog ads is a really good way, a really easy, accessible way to do that.
Okay, love it. Final question. I want you to state one of your unpopular opinions about Meta ads.
Okay. This one is important because, and I'll just say this, look, I think that every single AI generated ad in the future will be catalog powered in the future. Okay, I think the product catalog is the final creative input. Here's why. Zuck recently announced that, you know, all you need to do is give us your product image and product information, and then we'll handle the creative and the rest from there. Eventually, Gen AI will be able to do that.
Yeah.
Right? At the core, like, of every single e-commerce store is like, what products as a merchant do you sell and how much do they cost?
Yeah.
And that's really it, right? And that's a product catalog. And I think that all you'll need to do in the future is just plug in a good, well-organized product catalog, and the rest will be handled for you.
Yeah.
So I think that the future of the creative is really catalog driven in a Gen AI world, which is why I'm really excited for all those Gen AI updates to come up.
Yeah. Okay. And then final one is I want you to dive into some Marpipe updates. What are you really excited about?
So I think that basic feed management should be free forever. And so we're offering that to brands. We're going to be announcing a whole new suite of features in the near future that will make it really easy for any brands for free to be able to organize their product catalog and send it places.
Yeah.
And then what's the catch? Well, eventually you'll grow big enough on catalog ads where you'll pay us to, you know, upgrade your creative or to optimize the product placements, right? So eventually we'll make money on that. But for now, we're announcing like this whole new suite of free features. And also we have a bunch of product we have a bunch of partnerships coming up.
Yeah.
So the universal ads is a big partnership. We want to give away as much money as we can for brands.
$10,000 per brand is kind of crazy.
Exactly. We want to give away, and we have more coming.
Yeah.
So we have more platforms that are going to do a similar thing with us that you'll be hearing from us soon. So sign up to our newsletter, which is Catalog Cult.
Yeah.
If you want to be a cult member that gets a bunch of like freebies.
Member, I'm dead. Awesome. Well, we'll have everything linked in the description bar below. Oh, one question that I have for you is, do you think that catalog ads work the best when they are inside an Advantage Plus shopping campaign with other creatives, or do you think that you should separate them?
You should separate them.
Yeah. Man, that's what Meta says no, but I say yes.
That's what we've seen work.
Yeah. I feel like that's what a lot of advertisers like see work in practice, but it's not like the feedback that we get from the platform, which is like hard to reconcile. But he's the DPA expert. So yeah, I'm going to place my money on you. So Dan, thank you so much for joining me. And yeah, if you guys have any questions for Dan, be sure to follow him on Twitter, and be sure to go to the link in the description bar below to have a chance to get $10,000 to try out Universal Ads. What an amazing offer.
Thanks for having me, Dara.